The first time my own son looked at me with shame in his eyes was on the happiest day of his life. My name is Arthur Bennett, and I am 65 years old. I never imagined that after raising a boy with my bare hands, after sacrificing my dreams so he could build his own, I would one day stand in a wedding hall full of strangers while my son publicly humiliated me. But life has a strange way of teaching lessons, not only to children, but to parents too. And what happened next shocked everyone in that room. The day I feared most. The wedding hall glittered like something out of a magazine. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, white roses decorated every table, and a soft orchestra played near the stage. It was elegant, expensive, perfect. Too perfect. I stood near the back, adjusting the sleeves of my old navy suit. It was the same suit I had worn to my retirement ceremony 3 years ago. I couldn't afford a new one, but I had polished my shoes until they reflected the lights. I wanted to look respectable. After all, it was my son's wedding. Daniel, the little boy who once held my finger while crossing the street. The boy who cried when he scraped his knee and only stopped when I told him stories about brave knights. Now he was 32, a successful corporate executive, confident, charismatic, and marrying into wealth. Her name was Victoria, beautiful, poised, and raised in a world far above mine. I had known from the beginning that her family saw me as inadequate. But I told myself it didn't matter, as long as Daniel was happy. The toast that broke my heart. When it was time for speeches, Victoria's father spoke first. He was charming, well-spoken, and the crowd applauded every sentence. He talked about legacy, reputation, and how proud he was to welcome Daniel into our distinguished family. Then came Daniel's turn. He took the microphone confidently. He thanked guests, praised Victoria, and complimented her parents. Then his eyes found me. And he smiled. For a brief second, I felt proud. Until he spoke. "I also want to thank my father," he began, pausing just long enough to draw attention. Some guests turned to look at me. He did his best raising me, even though we didn't have much. A few polite chuckles. I felt a sting in my chest. He taught me what I didn't want in life, and that pushed me to work harder. Laughter. Louder this time. My ears rang. Daniel continued, "I guess growing up in a tiny house with second-hand furniture builds character." The room erupted in awkward amusement. My hands trembled. He wasn't praising me. He was mocking me. And I stood there, frozen. Flashbacks of sacrifice. As the laughter echoed, memories flooded my mind. I remembered working double shifts at the factory when Daniel was 8. I remembered skipping meals so he could have new school shoes. I remembered selling my late wife's jewelry, the last gift she left me before cancer took her, so Daniel could attend university. I never told him. I didn't want him to feel guilty. I only wanted him to fly higher than I ever could. And now, he was ashamed of the ground he grew from. The final blow. Daniel raised his glass. "Here to new beginnings," he said, "and to moving up in the world." His gaze lingered on me again. The message was clear. I was the past, and he was relieved to leave me there. People clinked glasses. Victoria looked slightly uncomfortable, but she said nothing. I felt smaller than I had ever felt in my 65 years. For a moment, I considered leaving quietly. But something inside me, perhaps dignity, perhaps pain, told me to stay. Not to fight, not to argue, but to respond. The unexpected response. When Daniel finished, the host asked if anyone else wanted to say a few words. Silence. I surprised myself by raising my hand. The hall quieted. Daniel looked confused. I slowly walked toward the stage. Every step felt heavier than the last. The microphone felt cold in my hands. I cleared my throat. "My name is Arthur," I began, "and I am Daniel's father. I'm 65 years old." The room listened politely. I may not have given my son luxury. I may not have provided crystal chandeliers or imported roses. A few guests shifted uncomfortably. But I gave him something far more valuable. I turned toward Daniel. I gave him love when his mother died. I gave him time when I had none. I gave him opportunities even if it meant sleeping 3 hours a night. The room grew silent. No laughter now. I'm proud that he worked hard. I'm proud he built success. That was always my dream for him. My voice trembled, but I continued. But I hope one day, Daniel, when you have a child of your own, you never make them feel small for the life you gave them. Victoria lowered her eyes. I wasn't angry. I wasn't bitter. I was simply honest. I forgive you for tonight, I said softly, because parents forgive, that's what we do. And then I stepped away from the microphone. The shift in the room. The silence was different now. Heavy. Daniel stood still, staring at the floor. Victoria's father looked uncomfortable. A few guests began clapping. Slowly at first. Then louder. It wasn't applause for drama. It was respect. Daniel's face flushed red. For the first time that evening, he looked like the little boy who had once needed me. What happened after? I didn't stay long after that. I congratulated the couple quietly and left before dessert was served. That night, I sat alone in my small living room. For a moment, pain washed over me. Had I failed as a father? Had I raised a son who measured worth in money? Then my phone buzzed. A message from Daniel. "Dad, can we talk?" I didn't reply immediately. But the next morning, he was at my door. The apology. He looked exhausted. His expensive suit replaced with simple clothes. He didn't say much at first. Then he broke. I don't know why I said those things, he admitted. I think I was trying to impress Victoria's family. I listened quietly. I was wrong, he said, voice cracking. I forgot where I came from. Tears filled his eyes. And I saw my son again. Not the executive. Not the groom. Just my boy. I placed my hand on his shoulder. We all make mistakes, I said, but we choose whether to learn from them. He hugged me. The kind of hug he hadn't given me in years. The real victory. Months later, Daniel and Victoria visited often. Victoria confessed she had felt ashamed of the speech too. She told Daniel she admired my strength. Their relationship with me changed. Not because I demanded respect, but because I showed it. Sometimes the greatest response to humiliation is dignity. And dignity speaks louder than revenge ever could. The moral. Life will test you. Sometimes the people you sacrifice the most for will hurt you the deepest. But never let someone's moment of weakness define your worth. True strength is not in shouting back. It is in standing tall, speaking truth calmly, and walking away with grace. I am Arthur. I am 65 years old. I am not wealthy. I am not famous. But I am proud. Because I raised a son who, after stumbling, found his way back. And that is worth more than any chandelier in any wedding hall.